Hello and welcome to Streamer Consciousness, a podcast all about a person's thoughts and conscious reactions to events perceived as a continuous flow. My name is Gideon. I go by Gid or Gidawid here on Twitch, and obviously we're on YouTube right now. And also we're looking at getting into Spotify, all those other platforms for the podcast as well. And I am joined by a very prestigious guest, somebody that I've respected for about 6 months because I didn't know who he was before then, but I know a lot of people have respected him for a long time. He is a giant in the Twitch game and YouTube. His combined viewer count across the two is over 400 million views, which is a lot of views. Mr. Dakotaz, I would give you a round of applause. There we go.
Hello.
Do you want to just tell us a little bit about yourself to begin with?
Yes. My name is Dakota. My real life name is Brett. People call me here. Been a streamer for 8 years. Just got into streaming before it was a big thing and just fell in love with it, and it's kind of been my life now, and that's just what I do. So that's me.
It's honestly a pleasure to have you here, especially considering that, like I said, it's a very recent thing that we sort of found friendship, I guess, through Among Us and
through G
Nelly. Through G Nelster, who has recently signed with an organization as well, with an esports organization, which is amazing for her.
We love that for her.
Yeah, I can't wait to talk to her about it at some point. I guess what I was going to open with was, what was life like for you before you were a streamer? What was it that encouraged you to go into streaming in a market that almost didn't exist at that point? Like you said, Twitch wasn't really a thing.
Right.
So what was it that encouraged you to go from what you were doing into Twitch?
Well, I've always been a gamer, so that was easy. That was the easy part, playing video games on Twitch. But like, my life was, I was a server. I served tables. Worked at a place called Ale House for like 6 years or so, and just was serving and just making money and just kind of living, paycheck to paycheck. And like I stumbled upon Twitch because I got into this game called War Z, it was called. Then it got renamed to Infestation because like legal reasons or something, because of the movie World War Z.
Yeah.
I fell in love with this survival game. I stumbled upon Twitch because I was looking at YouTube videos like how to get better at the game, and then someone like linked their Twitch. I was like, what is this? So I clicked it, and the person happened to be live, and I was like, this is weird. Like, am I watching a video? What is going on? I didn't even know what I was witnessing. And then I found out it was a live stream. I saw the chatting. I saw I was interacting with this community, and I was just like, this is interesting. Like, this is cool. Like, this, I can't believe people do stuff like this. So then I just slowly researched it, made my Twitch channel, and just started playing the game in that category and trying to become part of the Twitch community, back then. And it just, there was no like, now it's kind of like, what do you expect from streamers? Like how they're going to be, how they're going to act and stuff, back then it was like the Wild West. Like it was just like, some people didn't talk at all. Some people talked, some people just, it was interesting. So, but I had people that I respected. I would watch, like Summit 1G was a big streamer in the War Z game, which he's a huge streamer still. But I would watch him, and I would watch people like, their names are Yeti Nation, Anatomic Penguin. These guys were, I didn't remember the names back then. And I just got inspired by all these guys. QMG Saint, I just was inspired. So I was like trying to model myself after them. Like, okay, they're interacting with their chat, but this was when I first started, there was no alerts on Twitch, like no PayPal. So like, it wasn't like you didn't have a format where, and a lot of people had sub button either. So, like now you go on a stream and it's like people are interacting with chat. It's like, hey, thanks for subscribing. Hey, thanks for the $4. Thanks for the $2. Thanks for subscribing. Play the game, interact. You have like a format that you're constantly rotating in to keep everything lively and flowing, But back then it wasn't like that. So it was like, when you first started, it was like, oh, like no one's chatting. Like I'm just sitting here like playing a game, like, you know what I mean? And then even if you did have people eventually like 10 or 20, they weren't typing all the time, and there wasn't like sub and alerts going off. So it was just very, it was all about just like the game play, basically.
So I was going to ask, like, at what point was it that you, because you said about like interacting with your chat and stuff like that.
Hmm.
Before that, as a gamer, would you play a lot of games with your brother or your friends and stuff, or were you a gamer that would play very much like on your own and stuff like that? Like,
I've played with my brothers, but I've always been more of a lone wolf in games. Like I always, like even when I played MMOs, I wasn't like the top guilds, but I always like I was the lone wolf in the guild. Like when it came to PvP, like
mm,
when it was player versus enemy and farming and getting gear, like I was with my groups. But when it was like PvP player versus player, just I liked playing solo. I like beating people solo. I've always liked that personally.
mm.
So that's what I liked.
That's really interesting. I I, I like that you brought up about Twitch not having sub buttons and stuff like this because, you know, I joined back in 2016. So for me, I remember the times where people were still contesting trying to get a sub button, for example, like
Mm,
partnered streamers who were still going, "Hey, I still don't have a sub button yet. Is there any way I
yeah.
could get one?" Um, and it is really crazy to see how far Twitch has come from even needing 500 concurrent viewers to get partnered, or at least to
Right.
apply for partnership. Then it went down to 300, 150, and now is currently at 75. um what is it like for you as somebody that had to go through the process of having a really high concurrent viewership to get partnered, seeing people who maybe come across as maybe entitled when they have got their 75 concurrents and they're screaming about why they aren't partnered yet? Like,
Mm.
what is that like for you as someone that had to really grind to hit sort of 500?
It's it really doesn't affect me at all. Like I feel like every person has their own individual outlook on what they're worth and what is right, So like I don't me personally, like it was hard for me to get mine and I had to stick at 500 concurrent just to even so it in the grand scheme it was harder, but like to me it's still like it's almost the same because you're just wanting to be a part, you want to become something.
Mm,
So at the base root of it, it's like it doesn't matter because like we're all trying to become something, we're all trying to make it, we're all trying to succeed. So it's like the same thing essentially,
mm,
numbers out. So it's just like that's what I see it as. So I'm not one of those people that are like, oh my god, man, and we had to work hard back then. I'm not like that. I'm like, whatever, man. Like more streamers, it's a good platform. Streaming's a fun thing. It's not exclusive to this person or this person. It's like whoever wants to do it, do it. You know what I'm saying?
and it's arguably never been easier to do it as well. I think that's something that
So
people
much
often,
tutorials.
yeah, absolutely.
Tutorials. Twitch is on your side. They push you with like the progress bar of like now you're affiliate. Now you're working towards partner. It's all just like I don't know. It's a good ecosystem of
Mm,
you know. I think like the people that are thriving to become streamers are people that watch too. So it's like it's all just like it's all kind of like this ecosystem of everyone, I
I
don't know how to
think
explain it.
I
Something like
think
that.
that's a really good way of looking at it because, you know, I know a lot of content, I guess. When people have their popularity originally, they might loop back around to it and recycle a lot of content when they're on their own because it can be hard to break out into other categories, for example. But that almost sometimes can get stagnant, like as a
Yes.
streamer. What is it like? Well, I guess there's two questions I could ask based off of that.
Okay.
One is like obviously you've helped a lot of smaller content creators and stuff, and you're on this podcast right now, which you know has only a couple of hundred subscribers right now, and you're on episode 3, and I really
But we here
appreciate
first
it.
is gonna blow up.
There you
We
go.
here at the beginning.
And you've helped people like Daquan, for example, with getting into the
Hmm.
Fortnite Invitational
Yeah.
and stuff like that. Like, what is it that really encourages you to help the smaller streamer and stuff like that? Obviously, you said about it being a big ecosystem, but is there something
Hmm.
like inherently inside you that makes you go, "Hey, I just want to help people"?
Yeah, I think it translates from my real life. I'm always trying to help people in my real life get set up, do things. It's just who I am. It's in me. But also, I I see things in people. Like I see that they're great. I can see it, and even though they may have 5 viewers, they're still great. You know what I mean? So it's like it's kind of fun to be like, okay, like this guy is great, you know, because I used to watch, like, for instance, I used to watch Tfue when he had like 30 viewers,
Mm.
and I remember my friend CD in the third, he goes by C's. Me and him subbed to him when he had like maybe 20 people watching, and he jumped out the window. He was going crazy because we subbed to him. And I was joking with C's. I was like, yo, man, like we should make an org and sign this kid. Like he's the best player. And like I used to watch him for all the Fortnite tricks and tips. And meanwhile, I was getting like 10,000 viewers,
Mm.
15,000 viewers, but I'm sitting here watching Tfue gaining all this knowledge, you know. So I'd be on my stream like people are like, whoa, where'd you learn that pyramid trick? And I'm like, Tfue, like, you know, this guy Tfue, he's freaking
Mm.
nuts. So like, and then Tfue blew up into the biggest Fortnite player that ever.
Yeah.
Like Ninja is known as the biggest, but like in my opinion, like Tfue was the greatest and biggest of all time. Like he was doing things that people were not doing, and you know, like he made default skin popular. Like
Mm.
that's how powerful his reach was. Like he made wearing no skin a thing, like no skin in Fortnite. And yeah, like, you know, like I see people that are great, and I'm like, you know what I mean? Like maybe a little push, maybe mention a name, and it's like, let's see what happens.
Mm.
And I'm not saying I'm the reason Tfue blew up or anything, but I'm saying, like, you know, I played with them. I help a little bit exposure, and it's just fun to see people that who I think are truly deserving and great just explode.
I think it also, the amount of inspiration that can give to someone, or even motivation it can for
Mm,
somebody who is in their field of work that you want to get into and you look up to, for them to take it upon themselves to say, hey, I'm going to spend some time with you, like that can be such a motivational thing. And I think it happens a lot on Twitch, where people get to work their way up into a position where somebody sees their value, like you said.
mm,
And I think
yes.
that's really, really encouraging, to be able to have so many great people out there that have so many different skills. And I think,
Right.
like, even playing Among Us, there were people that I was meeting, like Lizzie, who plays Minecraft. She's got like 7
Mm-hmm.
mil subs. I had no idea who she was. She was just a really
Mm,
lovely person to talk to.
yeah.
But there are these moments where it's like, what's going on here? Like, this is a whole different universe to me,
Right.
of
Right.
somebody that I'm just meeting purely based on,
Right.
doing a similar profession. In terms of, we talked a lot about Tfue there and stuff. Obviously, you were picked up by TSM back in the
Yes.
day.
Mm-hmm.
What is it like? Because obviously, I don't get to ask this question to many people, but what is it like being a part of an esports organization and stuff? Like, what was that like for you, getting offered that kind of position and then taking that,
Right.
taking that opportunity?
Well, let's see. Joining TSM was exciting. I signed with TSM with High Distortion, one of my like people I played with in Fortnite. It was exciting because it was kind of like at the beginning of my explosion. So it was like this, you know, an org showing up's like, hey, we'll pay you this monthly.
Mm.
You know, you're part of our team. You're part of the crew. You know, you're getting money. It's like everyone's winning. You know,
Hmm.
and it's like, holy crap! All of a sudden, you know, I'm making my money through Twitch. All of a sudden, it's like, boom, I'm getting paid professionally from a professional team. And like TSM is huge. You know, I knew them from League of Legends. I played League of Legends back in the day, so I was a fan of TSM. I like Reginald. I like everyone that plays for TSM, so it was like a no-brainer for me. I love their brand. I also knew behind the scenes that Daquan, Hamlins, and Myth were joining.
Hmm.
So I knew like it was going to be a move. Like they had a movement
Yeah.
on Fortnite. So I was like, I want to be a part of that. So it was awesome. It was, you know, and TSM was great to me. Uh, I never had a problem with them once. You know, it just was a great thing that back and forth. I ended up not re-signing. People think I left TSM, but I just ended up not re-signing my contract, which is like different from leaving. You know, it's
Hmm.
like
For sure.
I ended my job. Like I signed a contract
Yeah.
to this day to this date, and I was just like, you know, I'm not gonna re-sign because I wanted to join an agency. Like I
Hmm.
wanted to, you know, I knew Fortnite wasn't gonna last forever. You know, and I was like, I want to move away from orgs and join an agency who's gonna just represent, like personally represent my channel, opposed to just like a bunch of broad players. They represent players, you
Hmm.
know. Like this agency will represent me, my channel, and I think at the time I thought it was the best move for me, and it ended up being the best move. So it worked out great.
Yeah, I was gonna say about that, especially like a lot of people do seem to think that when somebody leaves an organization that it's always on bad terms, and it's
Hmm.
sometimes when a contract ends, you've done done your business, like that's
Right.
it, and you still ultimately it's the same with picking up a new phone contract. Even
Right.
like sometimes you might just want a new phone,
Yeah,
and that's okay.
I'm looking for the best deal, what's best for me, the best service, like
Mm,
I'm looking at all angles when I'm re-signing a new contract. And also I grew, back when I signed that contract, I grew like 4 million follows since then. So it's
mm,
like it's a whole different ball field now. It's like life's different.
for sure. And I guess you kind of answered the question there, but I was gonna ask, like, being a year or so removed from it, was it just the best decision for you that you made at that point?
Yeah, it was the best decision because the org I'm currently in, sorry, agency loaded, everything just like kind of pieced together perfectly. Like, they dealt with my platform signing like with Twitch exclusively. Like they knew what they were doing because they had people like Ninja under them and big streamers. So they
Mm-hmm.
knew, they just they knew what was going on. So like I made the best decision financially, business wise. Uh, Also, yeah, just everything. They're really kind people. But
Mm,
TSM was kind too. So like,
of course.
it goes both ways.
Yeah.
But just for me personally, it was the best move.
Mm. Was there a point where you realized that you were making money doing something that you loved doing? Like, was there a moment where it just like clicked in your head, like, oh, this is what I can do now. I can keep myself afloat and sustain this financially.
Yes. Yeah. When I was streaming the first year, I was making alerts started coming out on Twitch, like bare bones of it, like very not aesthetically looking. Like it was really just like a flat background color with a text. Like you thought you were in 99
Oh
HTML
yeah.
like websites. So they would pop up and or like slide down. It was real, wasn't great, but it did its job. People
Mm,
would get their message read and people would see it, and it just started flowing. And then I got my sub button and people started subbing, and then someone came in my stream. His name was Paperbat. He's a streamer. He dropped $500 for me to buy new headphones because my microphone was a $2 mic, had
mm.
like $20 pair of headphones. Like I didn't have money.
Yeah,
So he was
of
like, buy
course.
yourself some new equipment. And that's when I quit my job like the next day. I was like, I got this $500. I'm gonna take this $500 and I was living with my mom, so I knew I
Mm,
could survive. So I was like, I'm going for it. I'm making money steadily. Maybe it's not as much as my job, but it's close. And it's like,
mm,
and if I just put all my effort into this instead of my job, like maybe I can excel even higher. So that's what I did, and that's when I knew it.
I think you made the
Yeah,
right call.
I did. Yeah, there's been some
Yeah.
up and downs though.
For sure. I feel as though a lot of the time people tend to struggle with making that decision of whether or not you quit your job and just put would is the gamble worth it?
Right,
So, like, obviously with you still living at home at that point and stuff, it made it easier for you to make that decision because you had something to fall back on,
right,
which I think is, there is still a lot of streamers out there that work a full-time job and do what they do and are
right.
successful streamers, and I feel as
And
though,
bless them
yeah,
because that's hard.
absolutely, that is so difficult for those people to do so. If there was one thing you could change on Twitch or YouTube or any other streaming site today where you could just make one decision and go, hey, this will be better now, what is it that you think you'd change first?
Like in the sense, like better, like it would be a better
Like,
platform.
yeah, yeah, what would you do to make it a better platform if you
Mm,
could?
that's a really hard question. Because that's like $1 million question. It's like if I said that, Twitch might
True, yeah, yeah.
become 20 times better. Like they would have thought of it by now. But if I had to think, um, huh, that's a good question. Let me think for a second.
That's okay.
I'm thinking. Because I don't want to give like a lame answer.
I mean, I could throw one at you that we were
Yeah.
discussing the other day, which was the idea of giving mods a certain perk for doing what they do, because obviously they spend a lot of time in your streams and stuff. Maybe rather than just having like a green sword, which is understandably a mark of being like, hey, I'm a mod
Right.
in the chat, maybe give them perks on top of that to encourage them to continue modding
Yeah.
for people that do those
Oh
really
yeah, I
hard
like that.
jobs.
I like that. Yeah, I think that's a good idea. I think maybe I think the power to ban someone and remove them from even watching your stream and any of
mm,
their accounts. That's a and maybe like make it like only the streamer can do it, or like real trusted mods, because sometimes like you mod someone, you don't know how they're gonna turn out. You're like the new mod, you don't know, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes power will be getting to people's heads. I've dealt with it, but it's with everyone. But like something that can remove that person from like when you block someone on Twitter, they can't view your tweets anymore unless they're
mm,
like, what I mean, like remove them from that, like so they're really hit.
mm.
I think that would be all right. It's like a shadow ban, I think it's called.
Yeah, I guess from my perspective, when it comes to whether or not I've banned someone that can still watch my content, I I try not to worry about it too much, because ultimately their ability to chat has gone. But
Right.
I can absolutely see why it would be a problem because of how many other ways people can get in contact with you now. So if that person is watching what you're doing, they can continue to try and attack you with whatever it is you're talking
Right.
about. And I feel like that can, especially for you, having such a vast platform of well, a vast audience, there's going to be a
Mm-hmm.
lot of people out there that might disagree with the way you say something or take something
Right.
out of context that they might want to continue on another platform. Whereas if you could remove them from watching that, then they might
I think they'd move on. I
move
think
on.
they'll. I
Absolutely.
think like they're like, I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're moving them on from channel forever. So that's like ultimately what you want from some people. You don't want them part of your community. Like I don't like some people are like, oh, I like that he's still watching. It's a view, but it's like you don't want that guy here. You don't want
Yeah,
this guy part of anything.
I'm right there with you on
So
that.
because yeah, who knows what he does,
Mm. Yeah.
So
Um. Another one, just to throw it out there, was the being able to privatize a VOD mid-stream.
I like that.
So because there are a lot of people out there that someone might say something inappropriate or something might get leaked, and you obviously might
Mm-hmm.
have a delay on your stream. Being able to privatize a video that's on there means that people can't then go back and clip it and all that
Right,
stuff.
like an
So
emergency button or something.
yeah, so like a way of just covering um issues like that Twitch would still be able to go back and review if they needed
Right,
to.
like Twitch, if you said something bad, they're still gonna get you.
Yeah.
But like, let's say you leaked your address.
Hmm.
It's like, oh my God, my address is shown, or my IP just shown, my phone
Yeah.
number just showed, or something private conversation that's not bad, but it's private.
Hmm.
You can hit a button and boom, it like wipes, like
That's
it
it.
locks everything. That's a good idea. I like that.
Yeah, just about keeping people safe and
Yeah,
stuff like that.
100%.
I know you were talking about blocking people on Twitter. I feel like this is a good segue into talking about something that happened
Oh yeah.
just over a year ago, also with Ninja, where, from my understanding, obviously, as somebody that only recently sort of even looked it up for this interview to talk about it, but there seemed to be just a disconnect in terms of what you guys were talking about and the way you were establishing an opinion or forming an opinion on something. And I guess, do you want to talk about what you said and then I'll
Yeah.
elaborate on that?
Let me think what happened. So basically, like, I said something negative about Fortnite, and it came out of frustration as a player. Like, you know what I mean? And he was kind of like saying, hey man, you're an influencer, like chill, like you're gonna make people be negative,
Mm.
and I just was kind of like, nah, that's not it, and I can say whatever I want to say, bro, like stop trying to censor what I'm doing. And I think like my ego, and I'm a bit of a diva, if I'm honest with myself, like I got like an alpha side to me. I'm like, I
Hmm.
like to fight. I've been in a lot of fights in my life. Obviously not in my adult years really, but I was growing up, and there's like this diva in me where if someone challenges me, it's like, let's go, let's freaking go, like
Mm.
let's throw it all out there. And some words got said. I blocked them, He didn't like that I blocked him, obviously. Uh, you know, and it just became, it blew up because there's been no drama in Fortnite. Nobody fought each other.
Yeah.
Everyone was pretty kind to one another, and it
Mhm.
was like, holy crap, Ninja and Dakotaz are literally beefing, you know. And we were big people in Fortnite,
Mhm.
so you know, but ultimately it really wasn't a big deal. Maybe I should have been more mature about it and not so aggressive, you know, because I think at the end of the day, Ninja meant well. You know, I think he just, you know, like I think he meant well with what he was saying. And but I do feel like I was always like Ninja was always calling me out when a lot of people were being negative, you know. And sometimes he would tweet out some negative stuff, and it's like, bro, come on, like let's not be a hypocrite, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, brother. And we all do it, you know. But like,
Mhm.
it just got blown out of proportion.
Yeah.
I wasn't mature about it, and you know, ultimately, I apologize. I got to Among Us came around, and I got into a lobby with Ninja, and I took the opportunity to apologize to him, and you know, because I really meant it. Like I was kind of like, shoot, man, we've been through pandemic. Things are real problems are happening. It's like,
Yeah.
bro, what we did was lame. What I did was lame, you know.
Mm.
So like, I wanted to make up and be nice and to him and his wife, you know, because you know, Ninja is good, and I've never had like behind the scenes and stuff. People have always said good things about him, and he's always been nice to me behind the scenes. So it it kind of felt like I was just being a diva, which everyone calls me.
I feel as though it's really important for people to be able to listen to this kind of stuff, especially someone in the position that you're in and the position that Ninja's in, being able to understand that sometimes conflicts are going to happen, especially
Right.
in the workplace when it comes to this.
Yes.
And ultimately, there's I could see both sides of the argument when I looked at it, because from your
Hmm.
perspective, you were forming an opinion based on what was going on and how you were feeling about the game, which
Right.
is
And it was a sentence.
which is
It's not
completely,
like yeah. Sorry.
yeah, which is completely okay. You're allowed to have an opinion on something, whether or not it's good or bad. Even if you have spent hours and hours playing the game, you are completely entitled to say, "Hey, I don't enjoy the way this is feeling right now," or this is not a good game for me," because that is your opinion. And I could understand Ninja's point of view of saying, "Hey, you know, there are a lot of people that are potentially going to be influenced by your opinion on that." But ultimately, I guess that's not your it's not your responsibility. It's difficult. It's a difficult scenario here. I'm trying to think about how I word this without coming across as being negative myself.
Hmm.
Um you can't control what other people are going to think
Right.
based off of your opinion of something, and they're
Right.
not your responsibility. However, there are ways of wording things sometimes that may help those people understand that this is your opinion and that's what
Right.
you've formulated. And I guess seeing two titans clash, I guess in many respects, of
Hmm.
I'm not backing down, was more the interesting thing for people rather than the
Yeah.
actual point, which was
Right. No
I
one
have an
even cared.
opinion and oh, I disagree with that opinion, or like maybe you should think about how you word those opinions. So it was really nice to see you guys get together about 4 months ago on Among Us and just say, hey, you know, we're human
Yeah. And then we
beings,
won a
and
game
yeah,
as
absolutely.
imposters. It was
I
fun.
was there for that. It was nice to be live and be like, oh man, this is nice to
Yeah.
see you guys interacting, especially after you almost tried to build the drama to some degree by you watched a little clip and you were like, ooh,
Yeah, yeah, we were getting in. I knew it was gonna be fine though once I
yeah,
got in. I knew going in there wasn't gonna be beef.
hmm,
Cause like we really don't have that serious beef. It's not like we dislike each other, you know what I'm
of
saying?
course.
So I knew we were gonna be fine. It's just kind of like egos, mine being the worst in
Would
that
you? I
situation.
was gonna say, what changed from then till now? Was there anything specifically that helped
mm,
you get
well,
past
you
that
know, you ever been
situation?
in a situation where you're like, man, I should have maybe counted to 10 or waited a couple minutes to think about it. What happened was is I reacted is it irrationally,
Hmm.
and that was the culprit of just, you know, if I would have waited and thought about it, I think there'd be no beef.
Hmm.
Just, you know, just being hot-headed, I guess the word is.
Yeah.
I was like, bro, you coming at me? Like, let's go. Like, I'm not, you know what I mean? I know you're Ninja and I know you're the biggest man on the internet, but let's go.
I've especially seen that from you playing Among Us with you as well, where there
Yeah.
have been moments where as much evidence as someone throws at you, if you're in that mode where you're like, yeah, but you were coming at me, it's like it's hard
Yeah.
for you to switch off of that and go, this is the evidence part of my
Right.
brain saying, oh, I should listen to what they're saying here, and you're like, no, let's go. So
I know.
that's something that I can relate
I'm
to
an
having
all-in
seen.
kind of guy.
Absolutely, and I think that's a commendable thing to have, especially when it comes to playing games like FPSs and stuff like that, where you can make a decision and run with it.
Right.
When it comes to real life and being in those situations where you might need to take those 10 seconds, like you said, I think it can be a bit of a downfall sometimes.
Big time. And also another thing I learned is like Ninja was ultimately right. Like we are influencers, but like you said, people do think for themselves, you know. But like we should still be careful what we say. But like
Absolutely.
I will to this day be like, bro, I said Fortnite was hot trash. Changed my mind. That was my tweet. It wasn't that bad. Like you know what I mean? It was like I made some like quick little jab at Fortnite and you know just turned into something ridiculous. So.
I think and again, just the way of me reading it, you saying change my opinion or change my mind on it was actually you inviting discussion on the topic and saying like, what is it you like about Fortnite?
Actually, I said it. Is the word rhetorical? I said it rhetorically because you can't change my mind.
Got you.
It was. I said it as an. Yeah, I said it kind of like. I was like, change my mind because you can't. Like, you know what I mean?
See, I read it as you opening up a discussion rather than the ego.
Nah, it wasn't.
Piling through there. Oh, that's really interesting then. What did it feel like to reconnect with someone that you'd been having this supposed beef with for so long?
It felt good. It felt good because it just got blown out of proportion. You know, I missed seeing Ninja's tweets. I missed, you know, he's a big part of the online world and gaming. So, and he's done a lot for people that people don't think about, like, you know, the contracts on Twitch. People making their deals. Like Ninja was the pioneer of this. He's the reason it all happened, and it, you know, he set the precedent. Is that the word? Sorry, I'm so bad with words. Precedent for it. So like, you know, like a lot of us owe a lot to Ninja because he paved the way to make us more professional. You know, I know there's other people, but like Ninja really, his power and his reach gave streamers more credibility in the industry of other industries. You know, like. McDonald's or something like whoa, you know, streamers, we got to get them, sponsor them, you know what I mean? Like, not that they ever done that, I'm just saying, like, an example, like other industries were taking streamers more serious. Like this is a money making thing. These people are professional gamers, they're entertainers, and like Ninja, he showed that. Like he was on Jimmy Fallon, Ellen, you know. So it felt bad to me because I was like, you know, I do look up to this guy, you know, as a streamer. So it was kind of like, it was good to reconnect and make good because that, and also like it never feels good to keep enemies with people. You know, like it sticks with you. It's like, you know, I'd rather just be friends with everyone, me personally, like just, you know, be chill.
When it came to something you talked about there about him paving the way and stuff, and obviously you've helped with that too. Definitely not to discredit or discount anybody else in the process of that.
Yes.
But it definitely seemed at a point to the average Joe that streaming and gaming and esports was just a fad. At what point, if you think it's changed, did it change from being just a fad that people were doing to, hey, this is something that people watch on a constant basis?
This is why I say Ninja playing with Drake, Ninja going on Jimmy Fallon, Ninja, you know, like just everything, you know, like he really is the poster boy of like making streamers more credible in the sense of business, you know what I mean? Like I'm not discrediting people, like lots of people paved their own ways of streamers and styles, like Dr. Disrespect, look at what he does, you know, there's all different styles and shapes and forms, but like in a business standpoint and like a career path, like Ninja really was the biggest and showed the power of his influence, so he molded the way for that. Does that make sense?
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. It does.
And like he played with Drake. That was crazy when that happened. Everybody was like, what? Like even I was like, what is going on? Like this is
Mm,
insane. I've never seen this on Twitch. I've been streaming 6 years at that time, or
yeah.
7 years. I was like, I've never seen something like this before.
Who is someone that you look up to that you've either had a chance to play with and been in that moment of like, whoa, how have I got into
Hmm.
this situation? Or something that you look back that you never would have expected that you've achieved through your streaming career?
Well, my thing, I not play with people, but like I play music on my stream,
Mm-hmm.
and like the bands I play when they like message me on Instagram and they're like, hey, your fans always message like Dakotaz showed me your music,
Mm.
just yo, thanks for playing my music. I appreciate that. When I see stuff like that, it doesn't matter how big or small the band is, because I've had big ones and small ones. It means so much to me because like their music saves me. It's like music's huge for me. So like when I get that message, I'm just like, I'm the fangirl. I'm like, oh my god, like I'm fangirling over them.
I know that you really like sort of like lo-fi music and sort of
Hmm.
your indie stuff, and
Yeah, indie
it's
big time.
really really cool to listen to
Yeah,
hear new things that I haven't necessarily listened to on your stream, and you're always pushing out those people and like, hey, have a listen to this.
right.
um and a couple of those people that come to mind immediately is Gravy and
Oh yeah, Young Gravy.
Baby No Money, which
Oh yeah,
I've talked to you about before.
yeah. Yep.
But yeah, in terms of, let me see if I can find the question. I've got it written down here.
Okay.
Which is that you're good friends with rappers, artists, other
Yeah.
things like that. How much has that helped you in the long run, and how much has it helped them with promoting their music on your platforms and stuff like that?
Well, I mean, like, there's different things. Like, for instance, Young Gravy, when I would play his music, it would be like at a moment where I like won a game,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just like a moment where you can celebrate with your stream, and everyone's getting hyped, and it's Young Gravy, and like we just shared experience together. So it was used in that term. And then there's times where I just like vibe into like some good indie music, and it's just everyone's just like, yeah, this is nice, like we're feeling good, so it's different. But I mean, that's really what it comes down to. I don't know what I've helped them. I don't know what I've done for them. People they thank me, so I mean, I assume I've done good. But also for some friendships, like I'm good friends with Young Gravy and Baby No Money, and
Mm.
their friendships mean a lot to me. Like we text and talk, and it's just
And
like
played
one
Among
time.
Us together.
Yeah, like Banks.
Yeah. I remember watching
Uh,
you play with Banks as well.
Yeah, like it's fun, like they were at a party. He was at a party and Young Gravy was there, and they FaceTimed me because they connected through me. Like they were like, "Yo, we both know Dakotaz. We both played Among Us with them, but they never met in real life. So
Wow,
they were at a party somehow. So they're like, "Yo, let's call DK. Like, let's FaceTime him." So
that
it was
must
at
be
4
very
a.m. though, so I
surreal.
declined it.
That still
I
must
woke up.
be,
I was
yeah.
like, "Why is Young Gravy FaceTiming me right now?"
He's one of those people that I feel like if he calls you at 4 a.m., you're like, okay, you're having a good time. Like,
Yeah, if I wasn't so tired, I would have picked up. Honestly,
Mhm.
I thought he was like butt dialing me or something. So like later, I was like, "Yo, what was that about?" And he's like, I was with Banks, man. We were about to just say hi."
Speaking of faces, it was a
Mhm.
while before you revealed your face
Oh yeah,
on
but I
stream, yeah?
started with my face.
You started with it. Interesting.
Yes.
So at what point was it that you turned that off and went away from using a face cam?
So I started with a webcam for about 2 years on Twitch, and it was during the War Z infestation. And then
Mhm.
when that game kind of died, my stream was dying. So I got a lot of like abuse from people saying my stream was dead. So I turned my camera off just so I wouldn't give people a reaction they were looking for, because it
Mm.
was kind of brutal to deal with it. Because you're dealing with like your channel dying, and then you got to deal with people being rude, and it's like getting hit with both is hard.
In terms of
And
you
also,
saying your channel dying, like what are we talking from, like numbers to numbers?
well, I went from like 1,500 to like 100 viewers.
Got you.
It dropped like,
Mhm.
and yeah, it was tough. And also I was in a relationship, and like a lot of women were very flirty and said I looked, like very flirty comments, and
Mhm.
it kind of caused some tension in my relationship. So, it wasn't the driving factor, but it helped. Turn my webcam off was a helpful thing for my relationship. which I've learned now. I'm never doing something like that. Like I'm always just gonna be straightforward. Like I'm doing things
Absolutely.
for me,
Hmm.
things for me, no one else. You know.
Yeah. And then you got to a point where you said if you hit like 1 million subs, you do a
Yes,
face reveal.
do a face reveal, which I did.
So was there any pressure behind doing that, considering that you'd turned it off based on
Yeah,
not wanting any of the hate? Was that a big moment for you to be like, hey, this is me again? You know, like
yeah, it
what was
was a
that
big
like?
moment. It was interesting. It was scary. I'd never done it for 4 or 5 years, you know, or something like that. So my webcam was off for a while,
Mm,
and then that was just a face reveal. Then about 6, 7 months ago, I turned my camera on permanently. And the decision for that came down to like I felt like streaming was getting too it was all the same every time. Like I created this format I could show up and it wasn't pushing me to challenge me to feel different. You know, I just felt like I was showing up every day, my camera's off, I'm just doing my routine, entertaining people. And it's like I was getting bored of it. And I was like, I'm gonna turn my camera on. I need to spice my
mm.
stream up. Like for me. Like I want people, I wanna, my style changes when I'm in front of a camera. Like I'm more animated, I'm more, you know what I mean? So
That, I guess that goes back to that stagnation we were talking about before, of people feeling like they're stuck in a routine and stuff like
right.
that. How is it that you keep doing what you're doing and have continued to keep doing what you're doing for 8 years?
Mm, I don't know. I just love it.
Mm,
Truly. Like there's never been a day where I woke up and didn't want to stream. Not one day of 8 years I've been streaming. I never was like, dang, I gotta stream. It's like, yeah, let me get a stream. And if I ever felt like, oh, I wasn't feeling good, like maybe knock out a 2 hour, like I'll be fine. I still
mm.
want to stream. So I've never had a moment like ever where I didn't want to stream. It's like breathing for me. It's like something I love just entertaining. I love just being there. It's just I can't explain it.
I've definitely had moments where I've not wanted to hit the go live button, but
Hmm.
that doesn't necessarily mean that I haven't wanted to stream.
Right.
And I think that's definitely a relatable thing. But to those
Hmm.
people out there that really want to get into streaming and stuff like that, but don't necessarily feel like they can because they're nervous and stuff like that,
Hmm.
what kind of advice would you have for those people that are sitting there, maybe just needing that push?
My advice would be is that time is a fleeting thing and life is moving by. And it doesn't matter if it has to do with streaming or if it has to do with wanting to become a tennis player. If it's something that you feel the need to do, you gotta somehow reach deep down and find the confidence or the willpower to just push yourself to jump into it, to make the leap. And then once you start, the first day, maybe the next day will be a little easier, and then you just start getting more comfortable. And like, and I like to watch streams. If I ever feel nervous or like I don't want to hit the stream button, I like to watch streams. Like today, for instance, I was gonna play Fortnite, but I was like, I'm not good at it anymore. I play
Mm,
Among Us, so I tuned into Loser Fruit's stream to gain motivation. Like I find motivation within streamers. Like I'm
mm.
watching her and I'm like, okay, this is why I love this game. This is why I love streaming. I'm ready. I'm ready to go. And the funny part is she ended up hosting and rating me. She's like, you're back on Fortnite, and it's just so funny that like I was looking for motivation from that person, and they rated and hosted me. So it's funny.
That is crazy when moments like that happen, and that
I was telling her.
they happen a lot more than people would expect. I feel
Yeah.
like, especially when it comes to Twitch, because hitting that go live button is so important for your growth. And again, I don't necessarily mean that just in terms of numbers wise, but being there as a person. If people can see that you're taking time out of your day to be there, that will come back 100-fold if you just
Right.
continue to work hard on your craft and be a genuine and authentic
Yeah.
person. And I feel like that gets lost a lot in translation as streamers
Hmm.
get bigger, that people almost think, okay, they're there for the money, or they're there for
Right.
this, they're for that.
They're playing this game because that's where they get their subs.
Hmm.
Yeah, it is. It is easy to judge people when they've become successful. It's easy to be like, oh yeah, he's making tons of money, dude. That's why he's here. It's like, actually, excuse me, sir. I was here 8 years ago before, like, hardly anybody was here. So don't you be coming at me with that. But people don't
Absolutely.
come at me with that because I'm just like, yeah, I am here for the money. I'm just
But
kidding.
as you said in the past about staying in your own lane and stuff like that,
Oh yeah, stay in your lane.
focus on what you do and stuff. Speaking,
Who doesn't want to make money? I'm like,
yeah,
yeah, I'm making money, bro. Whatever. Like, this is what we do. We want to make money, want to be successful, want to be
mm,
funny, want to be entertaining.
speaking of
Like,
staying in
don't
your
hate on me for that.
speaking of staying in your own lane, there was a point where I was watching one of your streams and you talked about how sometimes after a stream you just want to get out and drive. You get out, get in
Hmm.
your car, and just go for a
Yeah.
drive. Like give yourself a moment of peace.
Hmm.
Beyond that, what is it that getting out of that room and going and taking that drive does for you?
Yeah. Basically, like streaming is like a high. Like you hit your live button, you're nervous, but then people start coming in, and you're like, okay, things are normal. Like
Yeah.
my stream didn't die. People are coming in. This isn't awkward anymore. Then you get into your game, you're getting into the flow, and you're having crazy moments, you're having funny moments, touching moments, and it's all like a high. It's all like an experience. And then you click your stop streaming button. For viewers, they can jump to another stream, they can jump to this, but I live alone, and it's like I'm going into just emptiness. Like I'm going from this high to just nothing.
Mm.
And it's not terrible, but it can be kind of depressing in a way because it's like, all right, like what do I do now with, what I mean? So I like to just drive. I like to, you know, listen to music and just kind of keep, like do things that I like to do just to, stay positive and stuff. Cause, we're going through a weird time right now in life, a pandemic. So it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like you're just sitting there, I might be sitting there staring at a wall.
Mm.
And also like I say that because I don't have a lot of friends too, like which don't feel bad for me. Like I'm not. I've just always been that person in life where I don't make a lot of friends. Like I'm very dedicated to what I do. Like I'm
Mm.
dedicated to streaming. I'm dedicated to like my family. So like it's like that are my focus, and I don't make a lot of time for other people because I don't have the time because everything goes into what I do. But I've changed that a little bit. I'm starting to realize that friends are important. Like I used to think, oh man, whatever, I'm a loner, I'm fine, this is cool, like I don't need nobody. But I'm getting older and I'm starting to realize that like I do want some friends. Like so I'm making friends now. Like I'm making efforts to make real life friends and meet people and stuff. So
Yeah.
it's a good experience because like I truly believe like anyone out there that like is a loner and you're embracing that, it's cool to go through that. But there's gonna come a point where I think you're gonna need someone because you need people in your life because it's just I don't know, things change. I don't know how to explain it. It's like I'm not smart enough to get into the psychological side of it, but being alone and through a pandemic changed my outlook on a lot of things.
Mm. I can relate to that, especially as
Hmm.
two people in our very, very late 20s. The latest of the 20s.
34.
Yeah, exactly. But yes, I guess once in the last sort of decade or so, I found myself pulling away from whom I was hanging out with
Hmm.
back in school and other places like that. I still have my, small group of friends or key
Yeah.
friends that I'll stay in contact with, but I definitely found myself moving away a lot more from them, and it's hard to transition from that to, making new friends, especially on Twitch. It
Hmm.
can be surprisingly difficult to put your trust into somebody when you only get to see a snapshot of their day.
Right.
How do you cope with that, especially being someone that has a viewer base, a popularity, almost a celebrity popularity about you? How do
Hmm.
you cope with meeting new people where there are those moments where people might be disingenuous or
Right.
not as honest and truthful about what they want from you as a person?
Well, what I've learned in life is time. Like, don't rush into things, friends or relationships. Time will reveal every single person. Like eventually you will see them for who they are because not everyone can keep an act up. Not everyone,
Mm.
you'll see that they're like, why are you hanging out with me? Like, I don't know. Time, move things slowly become friends, and you can feel it out. You know what I think? You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And also be selective. Like be
Mm.
selective. Like the people that I'm friends with right now, they're people I wanted to be friends with. They didn't want to be friends with me.
Yeah.
Like, I don't mean that in a mean way. It's just like, I got to be selective. Like, I want to be friends with this person. So, like, that's what it's about. Or I want to be in a relationship with this person, kind of deal.
I feel like it goes both ways with that.
Yeah.
Because ultimately, if you are in a relationship or you're friends with somebody, that if you feel like you're getting the best end of the deal, then you're winning. Like, both of you would feel like you're getting the best end of the deal. And I think that's what's so nice about finding people that you connect with properly. Like, for example, like, you've taken time out of your day to come on and do this podcast for me. But at the same time, you still get to chat with arguably the greatest podcaster on Twitch and, you know, stuff like that. So that was a joke, DK. I was making a joke.
Oh,
but,
shoot. I was like, wait, who is that?
Me. No.
No, I thought I was like in Among Us lobby with someone. I was like, is there someone that's in a podcast in Hafu's lobbies? I was honestly thinking that.
Thanks. My ego's gone through the roof after that. But yeah, in terms of, you talked about relationships there. And I think having been a streamer for so long, and obviously you've been in relationships whilst you've been a streamer, what is it like for you doing the profession that you do, which requires you sitting in an office for hours and hours every day, and then trying to still have a relationship whilst being a streamer when you're getting a lot of other attention from other people?
It's hard. I'm at a point in my life where, like, it's easier because I'm not so much on like a crazy grind to make it, you know, so I'm not like obsessed with it like I used to be. Like, I used to be obsessed with, like, I got to be on this time, nobody's on at this time, I got to watch what people are doing. You know, I don't worry about these things anymore because, like, I kind of made it, got my contract, I'm chilling, you know, I'm enjoying my streams, just I'm showing up and having fun. Where before I was obsessed, like I gotta make it, you know. And in a relationship, when you're obsessed like that, it's like that person you're with can see that, and it's like you know, it becomes a lot every day. It's like, I'm not obsessed with them, you know, I'm obsessed with this. And it's like, I don't know, it's hard. It's like, it's very hard to balance it, you know. And you give your attention and you give your energy to your streams, and then your stream ends and it's like you're tired.
Yeah.
You know, it takes a lot mentally. A lot of people don't realize is reading the chat, interacting, playing games at the same time. It's a lot of brain power going on, all like consistently. And then you end your stream and it's like or even if you come home from work, you just want to chill and be like, you know, like, and my brain's melted. So it's like, how now I got to turn it back on a little bit because, you know, like, I don't want to be this miserable person in front of the person I love, you know?
Yeah, of course.
I want to be animated and give them that energy too. So it's very hard, you know, and it's like, yeah, like I used to, like, in Fortnite, I was streaming 12 hours a day. Then I was editing my own videos that would take like 4 hours to upload and all that. So like I was doing like 16-hour days, and it's like, oh, hey, I got 2 hours for you or an hour. And it's like, I'm tired. And it's like, it's not fair to that person. So it kind of sucks, but like, in my defense, like in my my own life, I can speak for, like, I'm chasing dreams, and I had to chase that for me, you know, and I did. But ultimately, I'm single, so hey, you know, but I made it. Woo!
I think that's it's a trade-off a lot of the time, and you've got to find somebody that can travel that road with you and be just as big a supporter of what you do as you are for them. And that is so rare to find in this day and age. And that's not to say that it's not out there. I don't want people to think that it's not, because it is. But
the thing is just not to discredit the person I was with. The person I was with through my journey was very supportive, and
of course,
and was with me.
Yes.
It's just, unfortunately, it's toll. So, like, you know, anyone that's been in a relationship, sometimes there's damage irreversible.
Of course.
You know, it causes resentment, it causes pain, and it's just like, that's just, you know, it ran its course. And, you know, I just wanted to say that this person, she was there for me a lot. So like, I don't want to discredit, you know, I did have someone like that. Unfortunately, things just happen, you know. And,
absolutely.
And here we are.
In terms of, again, not to delve into the relationship as such, because that's your personal business. But at one point you moved to another country. You were living in another country. Living
in France.
Yeah. What's it like moving an entire setup to a completely different country and having to work in a profession where you're working even at a different time zone, let alone
Right.
other stuff like that. What was that like as a streamer?
Honestly, it wasn't that different because I'm in a room and I'm looking at the world in front of me on my computer. So it's almost the same thing. And I streamed around the same time. Like I was streaming at 9 a.m. in America or 8 a.m. So then when I got to France, I streamed at 8 a.m., 9 a.m. there. So I kept it almost the same. So it wasn't really different other than there was no air conditioning.
Yeah,
And
one of the major struggles in Europe is not having
yeah,
air
I'm
conditioning.
like, bro, where the AC units at?
It's so cold all the time. Anyway, that's the thing.
Yeah.
So that's something that we often struggle with.
I learned that. You only need it for like 2 months in France,
True.
so it's like there's no point really.
True.
Sorry.
But yeah, in terms of so you didn't change your stream time to suit what was working for you at American time before?
Nope, just kind of jumped into the same time.
Wow.
Adapted life. Yeah, so it was almost the same, you know.
That's
just
really
different
interesting.
Language, different, and I was in a city, so it was a little different.
I would ask you for some French, but I know that you.
Bonjour, bonjour, enchanté. Je suis American. Je m'appelle Brett.
Very nice. There we go.
I'd always go to bakers like jus d'orange and jambon sandwich.
Nice. Having that ham, that tasty ham.
Yep, ham sandwich.
Very nice. Yeah, the only thing I remember from my French GCSE at school was je me suis vraiment bien amusé, which means I really enjoyed myself. So like, you know, you could go to a barbecue. I really enjoyed myself. We went swimming. I really enjoyed myself. So, you know, I couldn't have a bad time if I ever went anywhere. But
or like ça va. What I liked is, you know, they ask how you're doing, ça va. And you could reply ça va.
Yeah, absolutely.
Which means I'm doing fine. So you could say it both ways.
What's your next goal? Where do you go from here? Considering that you've got literally hundreds of millions of views, you've got millions of followers. What is next for Brett? Where do you want to go from here?
Well, I'm still, you know, my goals are still Twitch right now and being a streamer. But eventually I want to dive into other things. Like I've always wanted to be a film director in my life. So like I would like to go to school for that and learn that craft. It's just something I've always wanted to do. Maybe if not that, maybe become like an IRL streamer where I travel and eat food and stay places and people watch it, vlog it, and stream it, you know? So I can see myself doing either. The one sounds more like vacation-y and just like chilling the rest of my life. And the other sounds like something that is a lot of hard work, but rewarding in the sense you're creating things that people can watch and, you know, fill a need inside of me.
Absolutely.
You know? Where like the IRL stream, that's not going to fill something deep in me. It's just like traveling. It's going to be fun, but you know, I'm not like one of those people that need to travel and, you know, it just sounds like something fun to keep it going.
But you'd still be doing it for you, ultimately.
Yeah.
Like, that's the important part to take from that. You said before about, you know, how sometimes it can be a struggle when you turn the stream off and, you know, it can get depressing staring at the same walls and stuff like that. And I know that you've got ADD as well, don't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And OCD.
And OCD. What's it like in terms of like from a mental health standpoint, turning off the streams and like you said, living on your own and how do you cope with stuff in regards to your mental health?
Well, like I live alone, so my ADD is cured by that because I'm alone. So everything's on my terms.
True.
You know, one TV's on, music's just on. You know, it's all focused. You know, Among Us gets a little crazy. Sometimes my brain fries from all the people talking.
Yeah.
But so in that sense, I'm covered. You know, because I live a lonely life just because it's just easier for me. My OCDs have really died down over my aging. You know, when I was younger, I had to wash my hands like every 15 seconds. Every shoe had to be perfect in the house. Like I had tendencies, like some really OCD problems. Sometimes you still catch me do things on my stream, or you'll ever catch me go like I'll do like these things that I'm doing just to feel like the best way I can explain it is like I won't feel okay until I do it. Like, you get what I'm saying? Like I won't feel like the world's right until I release this. So sometimes I do things where I do that. I suffer from something called trichotillomania.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Pulling hair.
Yeah.
I've gotten better. I don't pull my eyebrows anymore. I used to pull them bad. Um, I and then I was pulling eyelashes for a bit. Never pulled the
Mm.
top of my head, but I'm balding, so I don't need to, So I'm like, my brain's like, yo, we don't need to do that, man. You're already losing it. But like my beard, sometimes I'll shave my beard, and people are like, oh, you shaved your beard. But what people don't know is I went through an episode where I make a hole, and I'm like, I gotta shave it because I'm going crazy. Because once you start anyone with trichotillomania, once you pick one hair, you can't stop. It's just like, and then you do it so much that you hate yourself. You look at yourself, you destroyed yourself. It's just a crazy process that I can't even explain because it's just in my brain mentally.
That's really hit me in the feels, because
Yeah.
as someone that suffers from it as well, and it's been rough. Like for me, it's always like the bottom of my beard and
Mm-hmm.
stuff. I don't talk about it on stream that
Right.
often because, again, I don't want to be defined by how I look. But there have
Mm-hmm.
definitely been moments where, again, I wouldn't stream without a cam, and people would ask why, and
Right.
it might be like you said, I might have just gone through a bad episode and stuff, and I shave a lot too because of the fact that I
Right.
struggle with that kind of stuff. And it is an obsessive compulsive disorder that is really,
Yes.
really harmful and hard to deal with. And I'm honestly like really blessed that you talked about it as well, because it
Mm-hmm.
wasn't something that I knew that you dealt with as
Yeah.
well.
And you always see me on my stream, and it only happens like so. My trichotillomania
Mm,
is like if I watch a movie, there's a hair coming out because
mm,
my brain is locked into it and I'm messing and it'll just happen. I'm like, shoot, like,
mm,
dang it. Like, here we go. I know it's going to be a bad night because I pulled one because then I'm going to want to pull a couple more.
yeah,
So like you'll see in Among Us, I'm always touching, like even now I'm always touching my beard because the only mechanism to not pull is to kind of just mess with it a bit, like kind of make
yeah.
it feel,
I keep my
and then,
hands
and then I'm
busy
okay.
as well. Like
Yeah.
I'll play with, like, I have a little tape here, like made
Hmm.
of like um ceramics and stuff, and I will keep my hands busy as much as I can. Um, when it comes to talking about this specifically as well, for me, I think what's really tough about that condition is the fact that as soon as someone tells you to stop doing it, like you said, it becomes a
Right.
compulsive need to want to do it more. And I
Right.
feel like it's led a lot of the time through me being really anxious or stressed. So the more
Right.
stressed I am, the more
Yes.
inclined I am to pull out hairs and stuff like that. And that can be really, really hard to deal with as a streamer, especially when you're putting yourself on a face cam
Yes.
and putting yourself out there to the world. And I can absolutely relate to what you're saying about when people go, oh, why the no beard, like what made you shave, or even
Right.
people talking about No Shave November can be
Mm.
like a challenge within itself.
Right.
It can be really rough. But what is it that, again, what is it that helps you still find the courage to stream every day and say, hey, despite how people are going to perceive me or look at me, I'm more than my appearance? What is it that encourages you?
To ultimately realize that we're all very similar, just like you just found out we share something.
Yeah.
Like I realized that there's people going through the same problems I am. The same people are going through the same uh, anxiety problems, depression, uh, going through a lot of similar things. So what pushes me is just knowing that like we are all kind of alike. Like we're all just trying to make it in this crazy world. And what pushes me is that people always tell me how much I help them in their days.
Mm.
So it pushes me to want to stream and be better. So and be there for them, because I'm like an outlet for people. So and people are an outlet for me, and my streams are an outlet for me. So it just works both ways, and that just encourages me. Like someone say they're just so happy that I'm live because
Mm.
they felt down and now they're feeling better, and it's like that means a lot to me because ultimately that's to be something like that in someone's life is crazy.
Mm. Obviously.
Streaming is much more than streaming. It's more. I
Yeah.
always tell people, I'm like, they're like, oh, you play video games for a living. I'm like, bro, streaming is a lot more than just that. Like, we're doing something that no one even understands yet. Like, it's new. It's like, you know, it's like I don't know. It's something new. and it actually helps people, you know.
Yeah.
It helps people in their life. So not
Uh,
only are people learning and having fun and experience things, but they're also coping and healing at the same time.
I really like the use of the word cope there, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people tend to struggle by saying, well, I've got to get past this or deal with it. And a lot of the time it's not learning to deal with it. It's learning to cope with what
Right.
you've got in front of you. And I understand that some people might think that they're the same word, but in terms of coping with pain or what you're dealing with, especially when you're a viewer in somebody's chat, it's hard sometimes to not just feel like a username for some people.
Right.
And I think what you do really well is make sure that people are far more than just a username. You see people for people. They're not just a bunch of letters in your chat saying stuff. They are people you are talking to. And I feel like you've always established that really well, that when you are engaging with those people, you are talking to all of them as people, as if they were there in front of you. And for somebody that, like you said, lives alone and spends your time often as a lone wolf, it's so eye-opening to see how much you give of yourself to others in that moment. So I think you should feel really proud of yourself for all that you have achieved so far, and I hope you continue to achieve.
Yeah.
In terms of TwitchCon, we didn't get a TwitchCon last year because of the pandemic and stuff like that, which was
going to be my first one too.
Absolutely, it was going to be mine too. But where do you think TwitchCon goes from here, having had 1 year out with a pandemic? Do you think that it will move to a more online basis, or that there'll be more of that stuff? You think when it gets back, it will just be back to the way it was?
Oh, it's going to be huge. I think people are yearning, like, it's going to be bigger than ever before. I think it's going to sell out in seconds. Because I think, like, towards April, March, we're going to see COVID really going behind us because of vaccines and everything and all that stuff. So I think it'll start moving behind us finally, and by September, when TwitchCon hits, I think it's going to explode. And everybody be so excited to see each other, and it just be like, we made it.
When it comes to have you ever been interested in VR, or
nah,
it's not your kind of
thing?
It
freaks me out.
I feel as though the way sports are moving and stuff like that, with overhead cameras, more cameras in general, I feel like more sports might look into in the future getting people into positions where they can be closer to the action than they were before. And maybe that will come in 20 or 30 years time in terms of VR headsets, where people can go, hey, I buy a virtual ticket to this and I can put on a headset and I can be in the stadium. That's dope. Or same with musicians and other things like that. Very scary. I was going to ask, like, if there was something specifically that you think the future holds that either you'd be excited about, or something that does scare you in terms of where the internet has pushed things and how far we've come in such a short period of time.
I'm excited for space travel, SpaceX, and going to Mars, and life after Earth. I'm excited about that journey. I'm scared of AI. I'm scared of VR, because it opens like worlds of like scariness, to me, because like it's like, wow, this looks real right now, not too real, but it's getting realer and realer. Like, look at video games. When it started, it gets realer and realer and realer, and then you put it on, and what happens when we put it on, and it looks so real that we're like, what is life? Like, if I'm looking at this through this, what is life? Because like, it's scary, and I don't want to get too crazy about it, because I don't put too much thought into it. But then there's like AI, it's like, holy crap. Like, I see these machines doing like box work at Amazon factories, and they're, like, or not Amazon, but something. And then like, it's like, where's the world moving to? Like, this is crazy. Like, everything's getting quicker, better, faster. This machine's making ice creams better than humans now, or something. It's like, what is going on?
Maybe that'll be it for the future in terms of all job professions.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it's a subject that's weird to talk about, but it's good to like be observant of it, you know?
Yes.
You
Yeah,
know,
for sure.
that's good to, you know, because it's like, you know, in 30 years, AI is a thing. I mean, quicker than that, you know, but
Mm,
like it's a for sure thing, and like space travel is a for sure thing, uh, and VR is a for sure thing, you know. So,
for sure. Is there one person that you haven't met yet that you'd love to meet?
um, Brad Pitt.
Just in terms of his acting work, or?
I'm just a big fan of his acting work, and I don't know, I just love Brad Pitt. Like
Hmm.
I love his movies, I love his acting and his personality. So, just would love to game with him or something.
Maybe you could play Warzy.
That would be that'd be funny. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, we sued that." No, I'm kidding.
Would you come back on the podcast sometime?
Hundred
Is
percent,
something you'd be
100%.
interested in?
Whatever, any topics.
Awesome. I'm
And if
really,
you got a
yeah,
guest, you know, we'll just get it going.
absolutely. I'm super happy to have had you on.
Yeah,
It's been really eye-opening. There's been a lot of topics that I really hope help other people out there that are either thinking about getting into content creation or have quelled some fears that people may have had
yeah,
in content creation at the moment, and just know that even people that have hundreds of millions of views are still human beings
mm-hmm.
that want to spend time and talk and engage with people. So thank you so much, honestly,
Yep.
Dakotaz, for being
Thanks
on
for
the
having me.
podcast. We didn't mention talking about Twitch Rivals, which
Twitch
was
rivals.
at one point we played Fall Guys together on Twitch Rivals.
Yes.
The only reason I was going to bring it up super quickly was because it was something that you weren't necessarily interested in doing before, and you just sort of threw it into the Discord at one point and said, "Hey, like, is anybody interested in doing this with me?" And
Yeah.
like, fortunately, I was there, and it was a lot of fun.
It was a lot of fun.
Was there a reason that you changed your mind on that, in terms of going from sort of the lone wolf thing? Is it just making new
Uh,
friends?
yeah, just, you know, wanted to play with people. Just wanted to have
Hmm.
some fun, you know, because it was just a new thing. Among Us was making me realize, like, dang, I like playing with people. You know, this is fun. So that's what. Then I just picked people I thought were enjoyable. So.
Awesome. Sorry, I was sitting there like, if I don't ask this, I'm gonna wait until the next
Yeah.
podcast and be like, oh, I
No,
should have
I'm
asked
glad you
that.
did.
But yeah, thank you so much for being on. I really appreciate you taking the time out
Yep.
to watch it. We're gonna have DK's links on the screen, and obviously we've got Streamer Consciousness on. Oh, do you want to shout your links out quickly, just so I can make sure we get
Yeah.
them all right?
Twitter.com/Dakotaz, Twitch.tv/Dakotaz, YouTube.com/Dakotaz, Instagram.com/Dakotaz. It's
Perfect.
Dakotaz on everything.
Perfect. And obviously, I'm Gitawid on everything as well. And then Streamer Consciousness, the podcast itself, is on Instagram. It's on Facebook. We're going to be posting up Dakotaz's lovely face on Instagram with his permission, just to just throw it out there as well. And we are at Casterminds on Twitter, because it's Streamer Consciousness is too long for a Twitter handle. But yeah, thank you so much for being on the podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you guys for watching, and we'll be back next week with another guest. Have a wonderful evening. Look after yourselves. Be kind, and we'll see you next time. Bye.